Welcome everyone to our internal rollout of United VMS 9.2.3. As you probably already know by now, you can use the questions section on the GoToWebinar overlay on the right to ask any questions that you might have as we move our way through the webinar. In addition, as usual, we will answer questions live at the end. Now, I mentioned that this is the internal release of United VMS 9.2.3, but notice how small that heading is compared to how big the messaging part is below it. That's because this is the important part that will shape how we move forward in future releases. And I want to start off this webinar by pointing out what a really big deal this is, right? By instituting quarterly releases, you're going to see going forward, we're changing how we've done things in the past in order to be able to be more agile and capable to respond to changes in markets and verticals so we can maximize our strength, which, of course, is being a complete end-to-end solutions provider for current and new customers. Did I mention that this is a really big deal? Now, this slide showcases the fundamental reason why this move is such a big deal. Notice the XY axes that are shown here. By releasing quarterly updates, in this example for 2023, the customer costs remain fixed, as you can see on the left-hand side, but the actual delivered value to the customer increases incrementally with each release. So let's take a look at the structure that we will be using going forward. This is how we're going to be able to become more agile by releasing updates quarterly. As the animated structure builds itself, you can see at its base are the two gray sections where we can now fix bugs faster and eliminate more support cases which solve customer issues. Then we layer in some new infrastructure improvements as we look to the future and what our needs are going to be then, not just now. Then we get to the two green layers, which you might note are both related to improvements to our own cameras, both in integrations with Latitude and in making additional features available that can be added to Latitude really easily, which you're going to see an example of when we get to the 9.2.3 features we'll be talking about as we move forward. The top two are VMS enhancements and new verticals, which maybe should both kind of be different shades of blue, as adding recent enhancements to Latitude, condition monitoring, early fire detection, and other AIC plugins opens up new verticals for selling Teledyne FLIR solutions. So let's take a quick look at the 2023 UVMS roadmap. Most of these correlate directly to the layers of the new release structure we just saw. One is the two green layers, right, cameras. Two are the top two blue and yellow layers, right, VMS enhancements and new verticals. And three had its own layer right above the bug fix and support cases at the base. Now, number four is something that's on its way, right? A new UI for Control Center. I'm kind of excited about that. Number five includes cybersecurity improvements, which is an important part of the infrastructure improvement layer. And then number six, we're also upgrading all of our server and workstation hardware to take advantage of newer technologies and improve system capabilities for our customers. Now, finally, number seven, as I led off with in the beginning of this webinar, our move to quarterly releases and why that is a big deal. So now that you are aware of what a really big deal this new quarterly release structure is, let's see what we've got in this new 9.2.3 release going forward. Notice that we've added a number of things in each of these three categories, right? New camera features and functionality, new VMS features and functionality, and cybersecurity with, you guessed it, new features and functionality. Now, each of these things have their own slides with quick video clips and a deeper dive into why these new features and functionalities will help you sell Teledyne FLIR solutions. So let's just move forward and get to the good stuff. Now, this slide showcases a really cool new camera dynamic attribute function that, in a nutshell, allows us to integrate any new camera feature or functionality into Latitude by simply uploading a JSON file. Now, a JSON file isn't code, it's just information, and that information is going to provide all that Latitude needs to take advantage of any of these new features or functions in these new cameras moving forward. Before 9.2.3, when new cameras were released, we would have to update the code in Latitude to build those integrations with these new camera features. But now it's seamless, right? With no need to rewrite that code. Just another example of how we are becoming more agile and building tools that help us move forward So just to give you a visual example of a JSON file being used to change camera attributes like bitrate tables, resolution, etc. But it can do anything else, right? New features, new functions, whatever it is, you put it into the JSON file. But let's go ahead and take a look at side by side so we could just see an example of this in action. So on the left here, you see the actual JSON file. I just put it in there so you could see what it looks like and the information that's contained in it. But on the right-hand side, you're going to see the yellow on-screen display at the bottom left of that video clip on the right. You're going to see how the resolution, frame rate, and bit rate change based on the size of the pane and field of view, at least when digital zoom is applied, as you can see, and the field of view changes. Now, this capability is all based on the uploaded JSON file represented by that clip on the left-hand side. Now, here's another new camera feature that we've added that allows for more granular responses to multiple tripwires in the same scene. As you can see in the picture on the left, there are multiple tripwires set up in the camera's web interface, each represented by a different color. The picture on the right shows the camera events list from the Actions tab in Admin Center, where we can tie specific actions to each tripwire to do different things, which you can see represented in the examples here, where activating tripwire 2 will create an incident, activating tripwire 4 will play video on a monitor, and if tripwire 7 is activated, it'll send an email. So more customer value, no increase in costs. Here's another cool feature that we've added to better integrate with third-party dry context systems, scene radiometric events. With this new feature, instead of only being able to alert on specific zones in a scene, now we can alert based on any zone in the scene being above the alert threshold, which you'll easily see as we move on to the next quick demo clip. Now, real quick, on the left-hand side of the camera's interface is where two zones of interest over the two coffee mugs are both in alarm state, but as one is removed, the scene alarm state remains because the other zone of interest is still above that threshold. And then finally, only coming out of alarm state when all zones are below the alarm threshold. Again, we're focusing on camera features that increase our integration capabilities. As we release new cameras like the 4K fixed box and the CV25 PTZs that you can see here, both have those new DNN analytics. In 9.2.3, we're building out that improved infrastructure to be able to efficiently use these new analytics in our new cameras. So one of the first new VMS enhancements I want to show is the new capability to dynamically display camera fields of view in our static maps, which you probably know that we call a map builder. It's been around for a long, long time. Now, we recently added a similar feature for our integrated GIS maps, which uses, our integration with Google Maps and Google Earth for scale and field of view and things like that. But as you'll see in the next sped up clip that I have attached to this, we can now add scale and compass tools to Map Builder that enables similar dynamic capabilities. So let's take a look. As before, we add cameras to Map Builder and Admin Center, and then they're displayed in Control Center accordingly. But as we add these scale functions to the 2D map, along with the directional compass settings, the PTZ can now understand that third dimension or scale, so it can dynamically show in the map a better representation of what the PTZ is actually seeing, providing improved situational awareness to the Control Center operator. Now, the next couple of new VMS enhancements I'll show are pretty simple, yet they're pretty beneficial improvements, right? Some we thought of and some that were asked for by our longtime partners. The flat camera tree option was a request from one of our larger customers who manages multiple systems in a federated architecture via Admin Center with multiple directories shown. The option to not display the multiple federated directories by engaging the flat camera tree option allows for all of the available cameras across multiple systems to be shown in alphabetical order versus being nested within each individual directory, which allows our operators, again, better situational awareness across these large federated systems. Another new addition is the silent installer, which sounds kind of cool, right? And this feature was developed based on a customer request. Again, right? When upgrading to a new major version, like from version 8.4, for instance, to the current 9.2.3, you first had to install the major version 9 and then install the LU, right, at the latitude update to 9.2.3 to get to the current release. The silent installer just eliminates those extra steps, right? This is another example of our dev team being agile. Quarterly releases allow us to quickly react to feature requests in addition to hardening integrations and cybersecurity each and every quarter moving forward. This copy and paste functionality has been added to Admin Center. Now you can copy and paste an IP address into fields instead of just typing it in, which you can see in this embedded clip that's running right now as I talk. Now, it's hard to get too excited about that one, but I'm not hating it, right? Anything that makes configuration easier, I am a fan. Now, here's something that I liked when I first saw it, because I'm a big lover of reports. The ability to run custom reports allows admins to use aggregate data to make decisions that make their operations more efficient. This new custom report update provides an even deeper granularity than was available before. Before, we could run an export report that told how many exports took place over a given time. Now we can tell how many exports happened, but we can also export further details, like what machine exported the clip, where it was exported to, etc. As admins, the more data we have, the better decisions we're able to make. Okay, so let's take a look at some of our new cybersecurity enhancements, starting with the multi-factor authentication for login to Latitude. Now, this additional layer can be turned on and off by the customer and adds an additional authentication requirement, much like we all use Duo for logging into our own Teledyne machines and VPN clients. That second factor just makes it safer for all connections and making sure that everything is a trusted device in the system. But please take note of the current limitations at the bottom, and I'll pause for a couple seconds so you can absorb those. All right, so here's a quick 30-second clip showing how it's set up and how it's used. Again, I fast-forwarded, made it really fast, just so you can get a glimpse of it without taking up too much of our time. After it's turned on and then saved, the admin is able to copy and send the QR code for initial syncing with the freeware authenticator app. And this provides then, going forward, the confirmation code needed as a second factor of authentication every time they log into Latitude. Now, another cybersecurity enhancement we've added is the ability to restore a dynamic key. The dynamic key security function was added in Latitude in version 9.2. It's going to better protect communications between devices within the Latitude system. But prior to this new enhancement, if you lost your dynamic key, that could cause an absolute loss of data, which was not a good thing. And that's why we're introducing the ability to restore dynamic keys. And you're going to see that coming up. With this new enhancement, dynamic keys can be restored via a process that includes our support team. It's a sort of rescue and restore process that needs our support team to be involved. You can't do it on your own, so please keep that in mind. Now I'm going to pause again for a few seconds in case you haven't read anything yet, and then show a quick clip of how this process works. A recovery button was added to the System Key Manager, which opens a new window with a two-step process. First, you request recovery and send the request to FLIR Enterprise Support. Support will then respond by sending the requester the rescue result that's then imported into the system to complete the process. It's also important to note that all data being sent is encrypted and FLIR does not hold any customer keys. Our support team is now just able to restore these dynamic keys using this new process. Now, before we open it up to live questions, let's take a look at the last new cybersecurity feature that we've added in this 9.2.3 release. Transport Layer Security, or TLS, for video streams, right? Without getting too technical, TLS certificates provide an additional layer of security by only trusting other components in the system if they also have TLS certificates installed. Prior to this release, only the communications between devices were encrypted, and now the video itself is also encrypted as it moves between devices. Now, finally, we wanted to show you a little bonus slide here, one of our new advancements for our condition monitoring plugin. In phase 1, which was released at least a little while back, we could monitor conditions, right? Heat, temperature, etc. And we were able to alert in Latitude when our sensors indicated that temperatures had either gone above or below the thresholds that we set. But phase one was literally just live alerting only. Now, with the release of phase two of this AIC condition monitoring plugin, we're able to capture all of the temperature data into a database, which means we can now use this new condition monitoring query function that you can see on the bottom left to allow admins to look over periods of time to see when temperatures either went above or below certain temperatures that you choose in the new query function. Not only that, you can set a good range of temperatures and query for any time that any temperatures rose or fell beyond that good range. This is a huge addition for the condition monitoring plugin. We want to be able to make sure that we mentioned it here because phase two is being rolled out at the same time with this new 9.2.3 release. All right, we're getting towards the end here. We're going to be answering some questions if anybody has any, but I just wanted to reiterate how this new release structure is going to help us to add value to our current and future customers going forward. This new fundamental change in how we release UVMS will help us quickly add value to our customers by providing agile solutions that solve problems and foresee future innovations. Well, we've arrived at the end of the presentation, and I know the team has been answering questions throughout the webinar, but let's see if we can open it up to team and see if we can answer any of the other questions that might have come in, or maybe they think are important to share. So, Gadi, I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton to you, and let's see if we can answer some of these questions.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. If you have any question, I'm here to answer it.
Hey, Gadi, it looks like we do have one question here. It says, have we tested our third-party PT units with our VMS?
So yes, thank you for that. Every time we release a new UVMS version or release, we check, we're doing backward compatibility, and we're checking all the equipment that we are working with or we know of, and we document it in a document called supported devices, and all the features that are supported for that particular device, PTZ included, is documented there.
All right, I see a whole bunch of a couple of other things in here. Let's just see for better understanding. It says, will there be just a single JSON file for the complete FLIR camera line, or one JSON file per camera series, or even a JSON file per camera model? So that's question one. Let's start there.
Yeah, Gadi, I can take it if you want.
Sure.
So it is flexible. It is possible to have a JSON file per model name, really. So yeah, so basically it allows in older latitude, let's say the oldest will be 9.2.3, but in the future, let's say we are now in latitude 9.2.3 or 9.4, and customers want to support, and new cameras are released, and customers want to support them with their older 9.2.x, let's say. So simply by adding a JSON file for these cameras without having to issue a new LU, then we will be able to accurately support these cameras and represent well their set of supported video resolutions, their event types, and so on, bit rates. This is right now only for FLIR cameras. If you're thinking of the adaptive streaming feature, for example, it's only supported with FLIR cameras, and the JSON is controlling it in a way. So right now the answer is only supported with the FLIR cameras. So when a new model is released, we could easily, instead of now having to release a new LU in order to support it, we can do it by simply issuing a JSON file and send it to a customer. They place it in the folder and the camera is supported.
Perfect.
And the future, we hope, no commitment, it depends also on the camera side, but to make it completely dynamic so that the cameras, again, FLIR cameras, will send these JSON files in runtime to Latitude. So we don't have to write them in advance.
All right, well, we've got a couple more questions right here. When are we going to support IPv6?
Okay, that's a good question. We're looking into it in one of our upcoming sprints. We're going. We have. We're going to research that and to look for the most cost-effective way to do that. I can already tell you that part of the new infrastructure, the things that we're replacing under the hood, we already support IPv6 on server to server, on the server level. What's left is the a connection to the edge devices to the camera, and we will investigate that in one of the upcoming sprints, and we will find the solution for that. But to make a short answer, we're looking. We are going that way for sure.
Awesome. All right, now I know we've got Boaz on with us. He's head of our AIC crew, and there's one other question here that has related to the condition monitoring function, and it basically just says, can Meridian and Horizon support the CM feature? But I thought maybe Boaz would want to even expand on that phase 2 and how that's going to change things on the condition monitoring front. So Boaz, do you want to address that?
Yeah, sure. Hi. Was that a question about Horizon Meridian, or did I miss that?
Well, the initial question was about is the condition monitoring feature available in Horizon and Meridian, and I'm pretty sure that's not the case. But
right,
I thought maybe you wanted to expand on that.
That's not the case. It's for latitude only, and exactly like was shown in that demonstration. And like you said, Marty, until now it was sort of real time only, even though you could see a graph of the past 2 hours, the trends of the past 2 hours, and so on. But it was basically real time. And from now on, we in phase 2, that is going to be released in parallel to this 9.2.3 version, we are going to store all the temperature data in a database, which will allow querying for that data, and by different criteria, whatever you are interested in. And when you get the results, you will be able to show both the video of these cameras with the graph, let's say, or the indicator next to it side by side, to analyze what was going on, trends, how things happened, etc.
Awesome. There's a couple of quick questions here. Do we support FHR cameras in condition monitoring for the temperature data?
The answer is no, we don't yet support the FH cameras with the condition monitoring.
Okay.
We do support them in latitude in general, and we do support them also even as as if they were radars, to provide the track information and show on the GIS map the object that they're seeing, but not yet as condition monitoring cameras.
All righty. Let's see here. There is, a couple questions coming in now. That's a good thing. Let's see. It says, are snapshots stored, or are the snapshots that are stored, are they radiometric? Not sure. Maybe Boaz, you can.
So not yet. Maybe Gadi can talk about what we call phase 3, which is also coming pretty soon. For now, these are just the different spots and the areas, specific measurement tools, or whatever you call them on the camera side. We just represent them in latitude, and we can show their data both live and, like we said, after the fact. In the future, coming future, maybe Gadi will talk about it in a minute, but we are going to use the entire radiometric stream in order to apply AI analytics on it and derive, have like cool features based on that. Gadi, would you like to expand?
So I don't want to be a spoiler, but Boaz said it all. We're actually doing a third phase of the condition monitoring plugin, which, without revealing too many details, we will be able to store all the temperatures, the radiometric temperature, on our device.
All right, sounds good. Looks like another one just came in. It says, as you said, so upcoming upgrade will be compatible to other radiometric cameras, as it'll stream radiometric stream He just wants to make sure they're correct with that statement. Is that true?
Yes, future developments are going to be based on the radiometric stream from the camera.
Here's another question about the two-factor authentication from Ken. Does the MFA feature require Latitude server to have constant connection to the internet to be able to provide those codes?
And no, it doesn't.
Okay.
After you synchronize it with the app, like with that QR code that we saw, it does not have to be connected to the internet.
Okay, so just to clarify, it does initially to be able to verify that, or on the initial.
Not even, because you can with the app just scan the QR code.
Okay. So one final thing, I'm going to pass it back to Gotti and Boaz, and if there's anything you guys want to add before we move forward and let these people go ahead. This is your platform.
I think that we have some exciting stuff coming up. They are all related to complementary feature with our cameras. We had some. We wanted to present in this version a very nice feature that requires or leverage on the new PTZs. So as soon as these cameras will be out, we will introduce that feature as well. Stay tuned.
All right, great. Well, again, I don't see any further questions. I hope we answered everything that you were wondering about. And as I mentioned before, this will be available going forward. So with that said, checking it for the final time, and there's nothing there. So I'm going to let everybody go. I appreciate everybody coming, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks.